Is PulseChain about to launch? In my time flicking through Twitter, I have never ever seen a post from the RH community hit the 1 million mark. Today, a few hours ago, this is what PulseChain was trending at. 1.04 million tweets. Previously, I haven't seen anything like this. I've seen thousands, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands on a Richard Hart post, a Hex post, PulseChain or PulseX. This is the first time I've seen 1.04 million. If you go to the PulseChain.com website now, this has been added in. I've never seen this before. Mainnet is closer than ever. So maybe this is a big hint that PulseChain is about to launch maybe in the next day or two. We'll keep an eye on it and see what happens. Now, moving on to the PulseChain Dev, Bretep. He's been posting about records. Testnet hits 366,000 daily transactions. Look at that. And then you get the big whack there as it goes up. So things are flying at the moment. If we go on to this post here. So, you fancy a new car? Ferrari Giveaway. Sexy Hex Diamond says, if PulseChain launches in the next 12 hours, and this post was only 2 hours ago, I would consider giving my Ferrari away. How does that sound? Anyone interested in this case happens? So you can put your name down for a free Ferrari there if it happens in the next now 10 hours. Moving on to Hex Alerts. So people are getting ready for their double on PulseChain. You get your copy, so the Hex buyers are coming in now. This is a big one here, 15.8 million Hex at a cost of 937,000 USD. And the price of Hex has gone up today, up to 6 cents. This is Maxine Broadcast, who did a post just a couple of hours ago. And I like this post. There's a bit of a thinking post here. Maxim is a thinker. He says this is a long brainstorm. Number one, PLS and PLX SACs arguably brought in new money to the RH ecosystem, both from people within the system, Hexicans, that saw new reasons to deploy extra funds, and from those outside of Hex that saw potential with PLS or PLSX, but not Hex. Is it possible Hex performs well, especially relative to PLS and PLSX, and that some of that PLS and PLSX money moves its way back into Hex, and the Hex performs better than some expect? Now, this post for me is really interesting because this is exactly how I think. For me personally, I've got a good Hex. Sorry, I don't have a good Hex bag. I have a decent PLS and PLSX bag, but I have a very small Hex bag. But I still see Hex. For me, I might be wrong, but I see it as the premier product. So my plan personally is to, if these two pump, is to move money back into Hex and build a real good ladder on PulseChain, because I can't do that on ETH because the fees are too much for a small Hexican like me. So I want to build that on PulseChain. So this is my idea too. So I like this second part here. He then goes on to say, one reason I could point out for overperformance in Hex versus PLS or PLSX is long stakes. I'd argue Hex being locked burned for long periods of time gives incentive to Hexican community members to continually pay attention and care about Hex, even through bear markets and hard times. Many are staked longer than the bear market, for example, so they have incentive to care about Hex through the bear market. Another reason for potential overperformance in Hex is related to the narrative going around by some, that PLS and PLSX are the new fancy things that haven't had the massive 10,000x yet. Some Hexicans are looking at how bull markets for new tokens tend to overperform when compared to the second plus bull markets. First run is often the biggest. PLS and PLSX would be in their first run. Hex would be in its second run. They are using this as a reason to sell Hex and buy PLS and PLSX, transfer their wealth from Hex to PLS and PLSX. This feeling by some is that these two might overperform versus Hex, will potentially add fuel to PLS and PLSX prices, at the least in the shorter term. Though I think this is a future possibility, where if Hex starts having gains overperforming PLS and PLSX, possibly part from the long stakes and the community incentives from those. So we'll just flick through that. This is very long, so I won't go through all of it. But the point is, he's saying that the opposite could happen with Hex overperforming and PLS and PLSX underperforming. So anything could happen. We're yet to see. But I like this post because I'm thinking kind of in the similar way myself. So just to end this short video here, we'll show Goki, who says PulseChain is a new EVM L1 blockchain launching soon. It will be a hard fork system state copy of Ethereum proof of stake, meaning you will get an airdrop of all of your ERC20s and NFTs on PulseChain. Yeah, so don't forget that. Tell everyone you know that it's about to launch, so you need to get your position ready for your copies. Will PulseChain launch in the next week?